GM is building a new all-electric Hummer. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Mal. If you don't know me, I am a stock trader. I day trade, and I also invest. This channel is focused primarily on helping beginners interested in trading get started. And the focus of the channel is to give beginners access to information that I wish I had when I started. And I hope this place can do that for you. So this week in the news, GM will be releasing a new all-electric Hummer. So it looks like Hummer will be returning, and it will be revealed in full on May 20th. And according to GM performance stats, the Hummer will have 1,000 horsepower and a 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. That is absolutely insane, especially for a Hummer. If you remember the old Hummers, they were big and it was a gas guzzling machine pretty much, but it was good for military use, and it was good for somebody that didn't really care about getting good gas mileage, and that's what they needed. So looks like here the Hummer will be potentially taking on the Cybertruck. And I want to check out this teaser. I'm recording this video one day before the Super Bowl, so we have yet to see the Super Bowl ad for the Hummer, but hopefully this will be good news for GM. I want to check out this teaser. Okay, so that was just a quick teaser, and I'm actually interested to see how the market will react to this news. As a stock trader, I'm not so much worried about what is in the news as much as how the market reacts. I primarily watch the pre-market, and I go from there. If you have not seen how to trade the gap or how gaps are formed in the pre-market, and it's mostly a reaction to some kind of news or some kind of an announcement like this. GM announces an all-electric Hummer to potentially take on the Tesla Cybertruck. And usually that's followed by some kind of a reaction, whether it be positive or negative, in the pre-market chart, creating a gap. And a gap is what I trade. I will put up some cards for recommended videos in the top right-hand corner. If you have not seen how gaps are formed, I will put that up in the top right-hand corner. As gaps are primarily what I trade, and I trade a breakout strategy, I will put that card up in the right-hand corner as well on how to trade breakouts step by step. So what I want to do is I want to look at the GM stock. So I went to Google here and I just typed in GM, which is the ticker symbol. That's the New York Stock Exchange ticker symbol. GM right here. So this is the General Motors Company. And we're looking at the 1 year from a investor's point of view. So it looks like last February, the price of the stock was about $38.78. We're currently right around $33.39. So we are pretty much flat. We've gone over 40 and then we kind of came back down. So if you're looking at it, we're actually down a little bit, right? We're down about $5 here in a year. And if we look at the last 5 years, it hasn't really done much. It seems like it's gone up a little, down a little, but we don't have a nice uptrend here. So if the market is, let's look at the last 5 days. The last 5 days we've actually had a sell-off here from 33.75 down right to 33. So it's only a 75-cent change, which is not a big change. So if the market reacts positive, if this news is received as a positive thing for GM, there most likely will be an overnight price increase, and then the next day we will open as a gap from the previous day's close. So that is going to be good. If the news is received as negative, then we're going to have a further gap down. And if we get under this $33 price, then we could potentially see a big sell-off. All right, so I'm on my Think or Swim platform and I'm looking at General Motors, ticker symbol GM up in the left-hand corner. It's also displayed on the screen as well here. So this is the daily chart. I use Think or Swim to trade. And right now I want to look at some areas of support and possible resistance. So the first thing I notice right away is we have a nice area of support right around here. And another one right about here. So if you don't know what I'm looking at, support and resistance are areas. They're not exact price lines. We have a bounce off this area here. We have a bounce here. We have a bounce here. Then we broke through and then immediately went up. So that would count that as a bounce. We almost came down to touch this area, but not quite. So there are multiple areas. There's like 4 bounces right here. And then we finally broke. And as soon as we broke, then if you look to the left, currently price is sitting on this area of support. So if we break this area of roughly $33, let's zoom out and see how much lower we can actually go. So I would say we can go right down to about this area of $32 roughly. So what we can do is we can put a line here. So this whole area, it starts here and then this bottoming tail, this whole area is an area of support. So if we break the 33 area, we could potentially come down here and then maybe bounce. However, I would say that the new Cybertruck will be a positive sign. In my eyes, it would be a positive sign. So I'm very curious to see how the market reacts to this. And if the market reacts positively and we open somewhere up here around 34, 35 above this red line, we could potentially start going even higher, which will be very good for GM. All right, let me get rid of some of these lines. I want to talk a little more about what I see on the chart. So if we scrunch the chart up, right, and we're trying to figure out, are we bearish or are we bullish? Looking from, looks like about August of last year, we have this trend line that's just been going down. So this is not really a good sign for the stock. It looks like every time we come up, price gets pushed down, and then we come up almost, we don't even come up to the high. So it looks like we continually making lower highs, which is a bearish sign. It's a bearish long-term sign for the stock. So I would imagine that over the next few months, the stock would do something like this, come up to here, and then possibly head lower. Now, do I want to see that happen? Not really, but I have no control over that, and it's all up to the market and how the market reacts. If investors see this Hummer news as a positive thing for GM, then we could potentially have something like this. Let me get rid of this line here. So I would see is we're coming up. We need to have some kind of a bounce to come down and retest this previous area of resistance turn support, and then we could have a nice bounce and a nice breakout. That's what I would most likely think would happen. Anyone that has been trading for any amount of time will tell you that we are not always right. As a matter of fact, the goal is to be 60% right, but if we control our risk and make twice as much money as we lose when we're wrong, then we can stay profitable. All right, so what I did was I zoomed into the 5-minute time frame. You could see that up on the top right-hand corner. Every 5 minutes, a candlestick is formed. And right now, I see that there was a gap down. We kind of traded lower, down to a low of 32.97. And then investors found a nice area, a nice value for this stock. And it looks like we could be going higher. So if we're looking at it from a trading point of view, first thing we need to do is draw our support and resistance. So you see all these top end tails here, there's one here, there's one here, one here. All these tails where price was, this is showing us rejection of higher prices for the time being. So we can draw a level of resistance there. But the other thing that I'm noticing is every time we get rejected, we're actually making a higher low. So the low of this candle is higher than the low of this candle. The low of this candle is higher than the low of this candle. So what I'm seeing is something like this. So we're actually coming up, and the price doesn't have to touch this line, right? This is just a visual line. This is kind of what we're doing. So sellers are pushing the price lower, right around at $33.45, and buyers continue buying, causing a squeeze. So we're actually squeezing until we break out. This is what this pattern typically does. Now, nothing works in the markets 100% of the time. The market's going to do what the market's going to do. But knowing how to read market structure and what the pattern is most likely to do, I could say that there is a 60% chance that this will break out. And if it breaks out, if the market is positive, which I think the news is going to affect the market positively, and we gap and we open much higher than we close, right? If we open right around this area here on Monday morning, this would be a very bullish sign, and I will look to trade this stock long. If you're not familiar with long and short, long basically means you're buying, that buyers are in control, and short means you are basically selling. Sellers are in control. If the market opens here, we create a nice gap from the previous day close to the current day open. And if you're curious on how to trade gaps, I will put the video in the top right hand corner so you can check out exactly how I trade gaps step by step. I have a video talking about trading Apple. This was last week. And so this week I am looking forward to this GM news. So we'll see what happens and how the market reacts. If we gap up, I'm trading the stock long most likely. And if we gap down, then I'll most likely trade it short. If you have any questions, leave me some comments down below. If any of this information was helpful to you, subscribing and hitting the like button will let the YouTube algorithm know that there's quality content in this video. If you'd like to see this video get recommended to more people, leaving a comment will help the algorithm do that. Leave me a comment below. I plan on picking some similar themed comments and questions to talk about in my upcoming videos. That's all for now. I'll see you in my next video.